Hello, everyone. We are here with Chris Barton. Chris is an entrepreneur and innovator, and he's also the founder of Shazam. And we are going to talk about innovation. So, Chris, thank you very much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
What is innovation for you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, for me, innovation is it's much more than just coming up with an idea. Many of the new novel ideas are sometimes bringing two ideas together and creating a new idea. But that's just the idea. I believe that innovation is taking a great idea and then pushing past boundaries to get that idea out there, to drive to a better solution. It can be in anything. We always think of technology and product innovations, but I always emphasize that it could also be your business model, a customer experience, the processes within your business or your organization. All of these things are opportunities for innovation. The key is to start from a clean slate.
From a white paper, from the white page. So you talk about innovation has obviously different meanings, but what does it mean today for a company to be innovative? Because we talk a lot about companies that are doing innovation, but what does it mean today? How can a company become innovative?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it really is two kind of categories, in my opinion, for a company to be innovative. One is to be thinking about the future and things that can fundamentally change, or we call it disruption, right? Disrupting the industry, the business that you're in. I like to say, sometimes a good way to do this is to think about what could another company do, and even any entrepreneur could do that might make what you're doing today irrelevant. So that's the kind of disruption category of innovation. And I think, for a company to be focused on that, it really needs to be doing things that are fundamentally different than its core business, in terms of new ideas, testing out new ideas, trying new things. And then the second category is sort of continuous improvement. And I think there's always opportunity to make things better. Things within the company, processes, or the way things are done, the way products are delivered, the way customers experience your product. So just lots of improvements with the existing business. And those are really the two big categories. But the key is sort of to be willing to do things that are sort of uncomfortable, because often it's often those things that maybe a startup is very willing to do, but they go against the grain of the way things are done, the way business models are realized, the way products are delivered, and so on. Because they go against the grain of what companies are doing today, often they're too uncomfortable, and so companies don't pursue them. So that's really the key for both pursuing opportunities to prevent disruption, as well as pursuing things to make things better.
Great. And can you tell us about Start to Zero? Where is it about?
Start from zero. Yeah, that's really, it's a tagline, sort of a brand I use, because I'm a professional keynote speaker that focuses on the story of creating Shazam, as well, and really what are the learnings in terms of resilience and innovation, artificial intelligence, technology, all these learnings for businesses, for organizations, for entrepreneurs. And Start from Zero is sort of the tagline, the brand that I've given this methodology, these different ways of thinking that I believe are fundamental to really driving forward in innovation. And really, what it comes down to is that there's really many types of boundaries that often we don't go past to become innovative. For example, when we come up with new ideas, we tend to come up with ideas based on what we already know, what we're already familiar with. And so that's limiting. And so that's one of my areas in Start from Zero. Another one is often when we come up with a new idea, a new innovation, we often hit these obstacles that end up shutting it down, that we hit them we kind of give up, or we concede, compromise, and we don't get to the real innovation that we want to get to because of these obstacles. We're not creative enough in getting around the obstacles. We tend to have it's many organizations, within the organizations, we face this problem of the easiest answer is no. People will just say, no, we can't do that. And it just brings things to a screeching halt. And then we cave to all the resistance when there's a unique insight. Sometimes we cave to the resistance that we face within organizations, the resistance from all the people that don't necessarily believe in this unique insight. So it's just really a series of ways of thinking that I believe that are fundamental to driving forward innovation. And there are things that I experienced personally as the original founder CEO of Shazam, which is a company I created, but also during my early years at Google, where I joined when it was a private company before it went public as the first mobile employee, and Dropbox as well. That's start from zero.
You started literally from zero in these companies, doing things that then become like kind of more normal or ubiquitous.
Absolutely.
And what skills do you think are required today within an organization in the areas dedicated to innovation? What skills should we have?
Yeah, I think, I think one important skill is to really focus on what your goals are. What are your goals? Not necessarily just looking at your existing business, but fundamentally, what are the core goals, do you want that really lead to success with your customers? Is it the speed of things? Is it the simplicity and the ease of things? What are the things that the customer really wants? And really having a shared understanding of those goals, I think, is an important skill set and an important way of approaching innovation within companies. The second is to empower the teams and the individuals in the organization to really go out and improve things. And sometimes in my speeches, I'll give an example of how the legal team at Google came up with an innovation that helped Google move faster. And it's not an area that traditionally legal teams innovate in their own processes. And then, finally, there's a cultural aspect of really unblocking change. Change is a part. It's the key to innovation, the ability to change the way things are done. And often we have these natural blocks that appear within companies and organizations. And so it's that culture of sort of finding ways to unblock that. And then finally, when you achieve these new successes as a result of this innovative processes and thinking, really championing, making a champion of those successes, because that's what really shows to all the employees that unblocking and being empowered and going after those goals is going to lead to great successes.
Great. And so we don't have a crystal ball, but we do have a lot of technology and a lot of data. So do you think that today, through innovation and through this information that we have available, can we anticipate the needs of the users or the consumers of the clients?
Look, anticipating is never a perfect thing, right? Predicting the future is a difficult thing. But I do believe that you can anticipate, and the way you anticipate is you really try to put yourself in the shoes of the customer and then think, what would the perfect solution look like? Right. So sometimes that doesn't come back to you in market research when you seek feedback from your customers. So it is important to seek feedback from customers, but you have to really read between the lines and identify what are the key drivers, what are the things that that's really valued and really important for your customers, because ultimately that's what you're trying to do, is delight your customers across the board. And understanding, is it the speed of the experience? When Google identified speed as being critical in its early days, and that was a key to success as it competed against Microsoft and search, and Dropbox identified synchronization. These are companies where I spent time personally, and synchronization was a key to creating a seamless experience with the cloud. So that those really are what they're really doing in those cases is Google and Dropbox are identifying fundamentally what's the perfect solution look like for the customer and what's valued by the customer. And when you do that, when you understand that, that's what allows you to anticipate what types of products, what types of services would be valued by customers in the future.
Great. So when you invented Shazam, artificial intelligence was not quite common or not like a mainstream thing like today. Today, like most everybody talk about artificial intelligence. So what's your view on this technology today, and why are we talking so much about this, and how do you see this trend, this technology going forward?
I mean, look, I think, Shazam, so yes, you're right. Shazam was as a very early example of artificial intelligence. Um, it was artificial intelligence ahead of its time. We invented this 24 years ago. But what I think is, obviously artificial intelligence has come a long way, right? It's a broad category. And the way we implement artificial intelligence has evolved dramatically. And some of the latest things that we're seeing are with deep learning, generative AI, but these are use cases. These are new technologies. But generative AI is not all AI, and deep learning is not all AI. Right? So there's still many different types of AI. But the commonality I think that exists in successful implementations of AI is exactly what Shazam did years ago, which is to focus first not on AI, but to focus on what would be delighting a customer, right? What would be a delightful experience if there were no limits? If there were no limits, how could you really delight someone? And start from there. And that's what we did with the Shazam idea. And then work backwards by looking at what was possible with AI. And in some cases, really having to focus on the technological innovation that would enable these ideal experiences for customers. And that's what we did with Shazam. That's what I believe is a story that is applicable to just as applicable to a company that's looking to implement AI today. It's not just simply taking AI and embracing it. It's focusing on what is going to change your business, what is going to really delight customers, what is going to move your business forward, and then how can you take AI and innovate with it to get there.
You have to have like an objective, like a purpose.
Exactly. Yeah. The purpose can't just simply be to use AI. That's not going to get you to the ultimate outcome. The purpose has to really start from what is the ideal outcome? What is the ideal solution? And how can we use AI and maybe even innovate with AI to get there? And some of that might mean doing things that are not obvious, that are not just handed to you on a platter.
Great. And we talk a lot about opportunities in the AI, but what would you say today are the main challenges of AI in terms of business, innovation, and also, like for people?
Yeah, I think probably, I believe that one of the hardest things for any company to achieve is to change behavior, changing behavior, the behavior of your customers, the behavior of your employees, the behavior of your partners and your suppliers, and so on, because people tend to stick with their behaviors. In fact, many of the success stories are often when a new innovation comes about and actually it makes a much better solution without having to change behavior. But changing behavior can be important, and the reality is AI is going to require a change of behavior, and I believe that will be one of the fundamental challenges. The way people do their jobs is going to fundamentally shift. I mean, you could almost compare it to the days before people had computers to the
Or
days they did.
internet.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Or the internet. Like once you have computers and once you have the internet, the way you do things is fundamentally different than the days when everything was on paper. And so AI is like that. It's a step change in terms of the tools that people are going to have at their disposal. And what's going to be really key is to get your employees and get your teams that are creating these delightful new experiences for your customers and internally, get them to embrace new behaviors to make the most of AI.
So when you thought about Shazam and you created and you thought about this idea, it was like a really clear problem to solve. I want to know what this song is. That like a really common problem. But when you thought about that idea and how to solve it, did you also think about in terms of business and how to monetize, or it was only let's do first this big idea and solve this problem and then we'll see?
Oh no, we had to have a monetization. I mean, as a startup company, clearly we had to have a story to tell, right? A
Mhm.
story of how, of what we are creating was not just a feature or a product, but a business. And so yeah, we had, part of the innovation was the music identification, but another part of the innovation was the business model. And we started with a very different business model. And in fact, we innovated our business model multiple times. We changed the business model over the years at Shazam, I think 4 or 5 times, starting off with a pay per use, moving to licensing, and then to music, digital music sales and subscriptions. And eventually we ended up with advertising. So we fundamentally shifted our business model as the technology and the industries evolved around us. We had to stay at pace with the new opportunities. So yeah, so definitely the business model and the economics of what we were building were a critical part of our vision, and I think that's true for anything that any company is doing with AI. I mean, as you innovate, you need to think about, well, what is the impact on your business, right? As you adopt these new AI capabilities into your business, how is it gonna shift the economics of your business?
So, and you also did another company with AI, right? Guard?
That's my new startup, Guard. Yeah, so it's a very early stage startup, seed stage, and yeah, that's a mission-driven startup. Its goal is to prevent drowning in swimming pools using computer vision. So you can think of it as a device that's in a swimming pool and uses computer vision AI to determine if someone's drowning. So alarms can be set off. So yes, that's my new startup.
Great. And in which stage did you say it was?
Oh, a seed stage, which basically means very, very early stage. It means that the company hasn't yet raised millions of dollars of venture capital. Most of what I'm doing now is just things like developing intellectual property, evaluating the feasibility of different implementations, and so on.
Great. And what would you say to someone that maybe is feeling kind of stuck, in their work or in their life, but mostly in their work, and want to do things differently?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think if you're feeling stuck, and that's something that anyone can feel. Anyone can feel stuck. Um, what I like to say is that I believe that when you make something personal, that's when you can really push beyond the boundaries. So when you think of what your work as being a personal project, something that's important to you on a personal level. And the way you do that is you think about how is what you're doing having impact on others, right? And then you feel the impact that you have through your work. When you feel the impact of what you have, it becomes a personal thing because you're affecting others through your work. And when you do that, when your work becomes a personal thing, well, we all put great importance on the personal things, the things that are emotionally affect our motivations. And then that's when you can really get supercharged and get past that stuck feeling and come up with great ideas and feel invigorated to push forward, push past the boundaries and take it to the next level.
Great, Chris. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me.